microorganisms.
And presumably there'll be pockets of air in a room where the air isn't moving much at all, that stay stagnant, and so infectious disease can accumulate and linger there.
Yes, absolutely. So there are potentially places where you've got higher pockets of risk. And in many buildings, we try and design what we call a mixed ventilation, or dilution ventilation, which basically attempts to ensure that you've mixed the air well in that space. And it's not always the best solution, but at least you can try and avoid some of those stagnant regions where you might get higher risks.
These days, of course, Kath, we're all acutely aware that COVID-19 can be transmitted through suspension of these small particles in the air, what are called aerosols. But at the start of the pandemic, this wasn't known, was it? So when did you first start thinking that COVID-19 might be transmitted through the air?
So I think me and many of the others who've worked in this field have always recognised that this could be a risk. But we started to get more concerned once we saw that there were certain outbreaks whereby this airborne transmission seemed to really be the only explanation for it. And they seem to be quite rare, but when they do happen, they can often infect a lot of people in a single space in a short period of time.
Well, on April 14th, Kath Noakes, you submitted a paper to the now famous Science Advisory Group for Emergencies, SAGE, on what we knew about the mechanism of transmission for the virus.
Yeah, and yes, I was invited to join a SAGE meeting and present that at a SAGE meeting. Slightly unnerving, to say the least. And following that, I was asked would I set up a group to